Welcome everyone to Ruslan Bortnik YouTube channel in English. As always, we're here to discuss the latest in Ukraine and make some analysis and just in general to understand what's going on. I'm here today with Ruslan Bortnik. Ruslan is a political scientist, political expert, and the director of the Ukrainian Institute of Politics. I appreciate your time. Thank you for being here.
Hello, James. Hello, friends. Thank you for the invitation.
Usually we start with the situation on the front line. It's very important to understand what is going on there, how is the Russian troops advancing, and just in general to understand the picture of the frontline situation. But today I want to start with something different, and then obviously we'll get back later to the front line and more the internal situation about Ukraine. But I want to start a little bit with the foreign policy of Ukraine. Vladimir Zelensky is currently visiting United States of America. He's going to meet with some leaders. He's going to participate in the UN Assembly. I want to make our conversation a little bit less official and more from, practical perspective. What is politics about? What is diplomacy is about? And I'm shifting it into a less official but more practical perspective, just to understand your point of view. If I understand correctly, and maybe I'm old school, diplomacy is all about being wise, maintaining some political etiquette, and understand a few steps ahead what could happen, what might not happen, and just to calculate for the best of the interest for yourself, for your political, obviously, situation, and first and foremost for the nation that you're leading. And I'm talking about the Ukrainian nation, I'm talking about the Ukrainian country, and I'm referring to Zelensky's visit. I think his initial plan, what he was stating and what the Ukrainian government was declaring, they wanted to go to the United States and present Zelensky plan of victory. They wanted to get permission for long-range weapons and to meet with both candidates of the United States election, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. I think partially it has failed. Zelensky is not meeting anymore with Trump. He is meeting with Kamala Harris. That was what was announced. Maybe you can correct me. And just your perspective, how wise or unwise that approach was when they simply looks like haven't calculated all the ins and outs in their political agenda or like their plan of the visit.
You have made a right decision talking about front line at the beginning, because I think the main front line for Ukraine nowadays is not in the east of Ukraine, but in the west, somewhere in Washington, D.C. Because these days, the decision about future support or unsupport of Ukraine for the next four years is making in the United States. And of course, from this perspective, the visit of Ukrainian president is extremely important to the United States to take part in the United Nations Assembly. But I think this time is not convenient for this visit.
It's not convenient for the Ukrainian side.
Yeah, because it was quite clear that White House and Democracy Party would try to use Zelensky in their election campaign.
Absolutely, as any other political party would, whilst they're still in power.
Yes, you are right. And I want to remind you that the Trump and Republicans tried to do the same thing in 2020.
Absolutely, yeah. Like
so this time is an inconvenient time for such type of visit.
But that's exactly what I want to point out. I have no problem with what the Democrats are pushing. They're just doing what's best for them.
For me also, I like both parties. Both parties are very great parties.
Same with Donald Trump back in 2020 when he was trying to use, if we can say the word use, President Zelensky for his political agenda. I think that's absolutely fine when people who are trying to get in power or are leading the nation at the moment, trying to do whatever they can to push their interest. My question is, if it's obvious that that was not a good time to visit the United States, if there was a concern that President Zelensky will be pushed by the Democrats to obviously support them to win some political points. Why did Zelensky go to the United States?
Of course, I can't make such a statements like you, but because it's your question. But we have no choice in this situation. Ukraine is in very hard days now because Russia continues her offensive operation in the east of Ukraine, and we crucially need to achieve a new packages of military, and economical support, financial support, and we have no choice. We had to go to Washington, but maybe
Ruslan, what if we flip it? I don't think that United States have too many choices or options here either. They have to continue supporting Ukraine.
But they can they are able to postpone this help, like a discussion about Ukraine, $6 billion United States dollars, which weren't used till the end of budget year in the United States. They are able to freeze. They are able to postpone this help. Very crucial help for Ukraine. And we had such an experience in previous time. Ukraine wasn't any support from United States in the beginning of this year because of discussions in Congress of United States. And Ukraine support for Ukraine was frozen during the Trump's time, sometime also, when the discussion about the fulfillment of Minsk agreement was on the eagle. So we had a very small field for maneuver, political maneuver in this situation, and it was like a trap, political trap for Zelensky. If you go, you will be used in presidential campaign of Democrats. If you are not go, maybe you will not achieve a new support, and it will be also a sign for Europe. It could be also a sign for internal political parties in Ukraine that you don't have support from United States anymore. And it could be a very dangerous sign also. So it was a trap. Of course, I think Zelensky could behave in another way in this trap. He could
we could at least, he could have softened the situation and not provoke it to the situation where Mike Johnson have issued an official letter that he's asking to fire the Ukrainian ambassador in the United States.
Unpredictable, and I can't even remember an example such a rude diplomacy when the head of a parliament, or the representatives part of parliament demanded the resignation of Ukrainian ambassador.
Yeah, the language that he's using, it's very demanding.
Yes, and there was straight demands in that letter, straight demands to resign, to kick off. To be honest, Markarova from her office. I think I'm talking about another type of behavior. Maybe President Zelensky was not able to don't go to Pennsylvania, to don't go to the military weapon factory or something like this. But he could be more patient and polite with his own official statements. I'm talking about his evaluation of Trump's peaceful initiatives.
Because he basically said that Trump doesn't know what's happening in Ukraine, and his peace plan is not going to work out.
Of course, it made a damage for the Trump's election company, such type of statements. I think Ukrainian president could be more polite in such initiatives. So also he could be more polite with the estimation of Brazilian and China peaceful plan, which he claimed a neo-colonial peaceful plan. We made a lot of sharp things, radical things during this visit, and it looks like Ukraine...
Which again is just tracing me back to how I've started. You don't want to do those when you're a politician or a diplomat. This is something that you highly want to try and avoid.
we used a lot, we used this policy many times during the years of the war, and very often it worked. It worked on the Ukrainian side because many Western politicians are very weak and very touchable for such rude or such brave policy, but not in the time of elections.
Because it's sensitive for them too.
Yeah, because it's a time of selection of the future for these politicians. It's not only time of political dialogue and discussion. It's not only time about the ratings between the elections. It's elections time. It's a time of fight. So you could behave very patient, very polite to the both sides. In any case, you will be enemy. Or in this situation. And so finally, we have situation when Ukraine lost bipartisan support, because after such a visit, we can't we can't think about the support from Republican side till the end of election at minimum, at least. Maybe in further policy also, we lost support from Republican Party. Moreover, few of my friends from Republican Party wrote me SMS last night, and they said, you made a very, very big damage for pro-Ukrainian part of Republicans, because now they are looking like traitors inside of Republican parties, because they supported Ukrainians, Ukraine,
and fired back.
Zelensky all this time, and then Zelensky supported Kamala, and now these Republicans, Ukrainian part of Republicans, looks like a traitors or fools in this situation. So I think we have a lot of conflicts and damages during this visit, and our reimbursement package is very low, because if we are talking about the results of the meeting with Zelensky and President of the United States Joe Biden, it's very low. It's on no additional support, only previous agreed package of military support, and that's all. No things about the long-range weapon. These bombs, which stated the President of the United States, they are not new bombs. They are not long-range weapon. No words about the Ukrainian entrance to the NATO or a new security guarantees. No words about additional financial support for Ukraine. Nothing from that victory plan which Ukrainian president brought to United States.
So we can basically state that at the end of the day, we've got damaged or maybe damaged relationship with the Republican Party from the Ukrainian perspective, from the Ukrainian side. We can state that Democratic advisors are well knowledgeable and have played the cards well, because just like you've mentioned, they probably have achieved some political points for the next election for Kamala Harris, and they haven't gave anything additional except what was established already to the Ukrainian side.
Maybe there are something, but
that we don't know yet about. It's just,
but we don't know about it. Yeah, but there is in public side. It looked like we were hostages in this political fight inside of United States, or it was maybe a mistake, some kind of mistake. Our diplomacy. Unfortunately, because in any case, this situation in the American election will make a very concrete and very crucial effect on Ukrainian policy and situation in general, situation in Ukraine. And if, for example, Trump will win this election,
that's my next question. What will happen if next year Donald Trump will be in the White House?
Yeah, Ukraine will be waiting some like an hurricane in political system, because there is no trust between the sides at all. after this second.
It's not just trust. I think we need to remember that Donald Trump is not, how to say it, like he's not always a politician. He's coming from business. He just got into politics at the end of his career, and he might even take that personally and push his personal agenda if and when he will be at the White House. That can even furthermore damage, because if, let's say, in an old school diplomacy, if something was damaged or ruined, the sides will still try to maintain some etiquette and some general agenda that was prescribed before. With the situation with Trump, he can simply take it personal and push his own agenda just on purpose because he was personally offended.
Yeah, but in his last statement, Trump called Zelensky the person who is guilty in the continuation of the war, the person who made a very bad choice in 2022, the person who lost the country, which, for Trump's opinion, can be restored after this great war. He made a lot of bad evaluation for Zelensky.
And if I remember correctly, he's also accusing Ukraine of continuing the war and not wanting to start the peace negotiations with Russia.
To be honest, not only Ukraine, not Ukraine, but Ukrainian president.
Ukrainian president, yeah, that was correct.
So it's very hard claims from the both sides, and the future of Ukrainian-American relation is in the fog now. It will very high dependent on the result of the election.
Right. Let's shift into the internal situation with Ukraine, and let's open up, if you can, the map between Ukraine and Russia and what is happening on the front line at the moment. Russians were advancing pretty fast on the east side. Ukraine troops are still remaining in Kursk. I think the counteroffensive operation that Russia has started haven't brought too many results yet. Just quick updates. What's happening on the front line from the Kursk region to the east side?
Russia continues her offensive operation in the east, especially in Pokrovsk and Ugledar direction. I will show you this is direction. This red painted part, it's part occupied by Russian forces, and green brown part, it's Ukrainian controlled territory of the Donetsk Oblast and another oblast. I will show you what happened during the last week. This is the date, today's date, deep state map, and we can go back, for example, for a week.
And so today is the 26th of September, and we're going back to the 16th of September.
And you can see how much Russia obtained in new areas for this time. I can say that it is a very fast offensive operation, but Russia captured the city Ukrainsk, and Russia almost surrounded the city of Ugledar. And Russia continues her offensive operation, and Ukrainian forces are not able to stop it in any place, because Russia continues her offensive directions. And at the same time, Russia continues her offensive operation near Torez direction, in Kharkivska Oblast also. But Ukrainian forces are trying to continue to keep their counteroffensive operation in Vovchansk region. There is a small success in this. And in general, Kursk region is a blue painted part. It's a part of under the control, the Russian territory, which is under the control of Ukrainian troops. There is a almost stable situation. A very low changes of territorial control you can see during the week. Very low changes of territorial control during the week. The situation is very stable there. So stabilization situation in the Kursk region and continuation of Russian offensive operation in the east of Ukraine, in the Donetsk Oblast, are the main consequences or military consequences of this week. But there is also one important and very dangerous process or event during this week. Russian air forces started to bomb Zaporizhia, one of the biggest city of Ukraine, they are using long-range bombs, very modern bombs, and the last week they used a lot of these bombs on the Zaporizhia for almost 80 kilometers range, and it means that Ukraine front line is moving to the west, and it means that these cities, very important cities of Ukraine, Nikopol, Marganets, Zaporizhia, they are under the dangerous or very big dangers, and it means that a lot of Ukrainians in the nearest future will become a mood person again.
I think we just need to explain to people who are watching us the importance of those cities, because this is not a simply landmass. Those are the industrial cities that produce and manufacture.
This is one of the industrial hearts of Ukraine.
Hubs. Yeah.
Hearts. The main Ukrainian industries, enterprises in military industry complex and so on, situated in Zaporizhia.
And now, if I understand correctly, Russian side is targeting them and probably putting those cities as a strategic goal to capture.
Yes, and the Russian forces weren't able before to target in this city because they hadn't before such a long range bombs. Weapons. And now they have special new modern, new made long range bombs, and they started to bomb Zaporizhia.
Right, Ruslan, thank you so much for your comments today about the foreign policy and the internal situation in Ukraine. We'll keep monitoring that. Thank you so much, and we'll be back in the next episodes.
Thank you, James, for help, and thank you for these great questions. Friends, if you like what we do here in this channel, don't forget to subscribe. Please put down your questions. We will be lucky to answer for all of them. Bye-bye.
Thank you.